In this video, we're going to take a look at CMI Unit 331, Task 3B, which is AC3.3. So let's get straight into it. On the left-hand side, we've got the assignment brief. If you've got this far, then you'll be very familiar with the format of these videos now. Assignment brief on the left and our template document on the right. This says, so this is a continuation of the previous task. In the previous task, what we did was we looked at what the challenges are for managing and leading different types of, within different types of team sort of structure, how you'd respond to each of those challenges. So we've covered that. Now, the next step is, you've dealt with the challenges. You know, if you follow the kind of story, as it were, here, you've dealt with the challenges. How do we then take a team from good to great? That's the question here. So it says high-performing teams have key characteristics. And so let's explain how a team of people can develop into a high-performing team. Like I said, with the previous part of this task, you're going to need to do a bit of research or book and reading on high-performing teams. Some of the like what's management and leadership and what's the relationship. Earlier in this task, we've already covered some of that. So you are revisiting that stuff, the leadership styles and so on. But this is more of a team focus. So it's almost like the way I see it is leadership and teams, sort of two sides of the same coin. You know, if you've got great leadership, then how does the team need to respond? Or if the team's really high performing, then what do they need from the leader? So they kind of interrelate really closely. So what have we got here then? There's lots of things we can help you with. Do some reading, book a tutorial with us, whatever. So it says, the recommended content, again, the slight issue I have with this unit, like I've already hinted at or talked about previously in these videos, is just there's so many answers that they're giving. You could use the same scenarios that you've used earlier. You know, this would make sense. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but where it says optional scenario B, well, this is the same as scenario A from task 1. So if you were using that, like you've got a school leaver or you've got a colleague that's heading for retirement, or you've got, you know, like these are the same people in inverted commas. You know, I know they're hypothetical. So that's kind of helpful because it helps you focus in. So please use the examples you've used in task 1 or in task 3. There's no problem there at all. It says ability to work collectively to achieve. So how do we work together better? How do you get the team dynamics going well? Clearly defined roles and responsibilities, shared purpose and values, individual and collective accountability. So they provide you with the key characteristics of high performing teams. Your job is to choose some and explain them. So over here, and again, please stretch yourself. You know, if there's things on this list where you go, I don't really know about like effective decisions or resolving conflict. If you want to sort of focus a bit more into some of those, like a slightly deeper look at some of those key characteristics of teams, then again, do some research on that or book a call with us or whatever. So what have we got then? And, you know, these are not that easy to explain, not in 400 words. So it doesn't say how many you need to do. But if we just head over to our template, we're saying use short examples, use the CMI recommended content, which is this. So, you know, make sure you stay focused. We've gone with explaining building trust. Absolute key characteristic of a high-performing team is people trust each other. But what does that mean? You know, like find a definition of trust and then explain it. Like how would that develop into a high-performing team? So remember, it says develop into a high-performing team. So if we have increased levels of trust, that's going to be great, provided we also have increased levels of performance. You know, we don't want to just friend zone our team members. We don't want to have great relationships and no uplift in performance. You're building relationships in order to drive greater performance. And that's the link between management and leadership, you know, that sort of curve. Maybe I can do a separate video on that little sort of relationship curve thing. Resolving conflict early. You know, in here, I would probably go to something like Tuckman and Jensen, you know, looking at team development stages, something like that, crosses over with situational leadership as well. Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team, you know, bringing a model or two in here would be quite useful, and you'll see that these slot right in. You know, they'll give you the explanation of how you would then kind of develop that from a kind of development stage, like basic level, getting to know each other, moving through conflict. So explaining how you would do that. You know, 2 people, for example, have a falling out with each other. As the team leader or manager, first line manager, you need to be jumping straight on that, because a day, it could get way worse. It can get, you know, really entrenched within a day even. So if you can pick that up straight away, then you can, you know, have a conversation with each person and, you know, get them kind of talking to each other and listening to each other again. Great. Okay, let's explain that, because that's a real key component. Like sort of Tuckman's stage 2, team development stage 2, you know, is being conflict competent, we would call it. Really key skill. Can we get people praising and recognizing each other? You know, a more modern sort of view of effective, high performing teams is people being able to appreciate each other and having that language of appreciation and also language of gratitude as well. So I'm you know, we express what we're grateful for, how we've supported each other. That raises the kind of energy. You know, it's an encouraging environment or team climate. So that's another example. Team building activities, you know, oftentimes they sort of fall out of favor, but just simple things actually really go a long way. I've just chosen some examples, and I've kind of going to explaining them maybe a bit much, but look, there's so many other things. Use your examples or use some fresh examples, but really try and bring them to life, because it demonstrates that you can apply the learning. Okay. And then my final thoughts really, and I won't do a separate video on it for now, but is making sure that you have written up your references with the author, the actual title of the publication and the web link and the date that you accessed it. Don't use AI. Do reference things so you're not passing it off as your own work, and hopefully that has given you a good sense of how to answer all of where is it? We're getting there. CMI Unit 331, approaches to managing and leading people and teams. Really interesting unit. Hope you found the videos useful. And yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, please comment, like, subscribe, follow us for more similar content. Thanks.